If you missed Tuesday night's Race Chat Live, you missed me being in the studio and how the Intimidator, Watermelon Man, and Rowdy became the first hot topic.
All right. Well, let's move on into hot topics. Hot topics. First on the grade, first on the board. Oops, I did it again. Do I even need to say his name? Ross. He got Ross. What are some other taglines I've seen here a few minutes ago, Taz? I think you had quite a few of them. Bump and Ross.
Brendan Poole thinks he needs his ass whooped.
Yes, he did say that on national television.
Hey.
You know, it's something else when you say he needs his ass whooped instead of saying I'm going to whoop his ass. Yes, Jason.
Did you not hear the mute? Did you not hear the Ross Chastain's radio playing? I swear he was playing Ludacris while he was racing. I believe he was playing "Move, Bitch, Get Out the Way."
I think that's what he plays in every race, and we definitely seen it at Talladega when he tried to go 3 wide on the restart there. So yeah, I mean, you know, Ross is the boss, and he don't mind junking up other people's race cars. What I can't believe is how he gets away with it.
My question for y'all three, because I seen this post earlier today. I don't know if y'all saw it. I don't remember which group I saw it in, but the similarities to what Senior would have done in the day, which is really no different what he did to Brendan Poole, car lap down in the way. What is the difference? Everybody adored, loved, thought the Intimidator was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and Ross Chastain pretty much did what the Intimidator would have done in our day in the 80s and 90s, and there's so many mixed reviews on it.
I'll say first, this so much feels more like Ernie Irvan than it did Dale Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt did do some things kind of off the wall in the early part of his career, but it was after the black car, which was 87, I believe 88, when he really turned the terminology to the Intimidator. Ross, when you really look at the stats, Ross did not have a proper grooming to where he is today. Ross really doesn't belong where he is today. And you think about what he's done. He took a niche motorsports truck and damn near won a championship. He got over into the Xfinity Series with Chip Ganassi, who really just didn't ever – he had some great drivers and couldn't ever seal the deal. Ross goes out there in an Xfinity car, wins like out of the door, right? And now he's on this plateau with Trackhouse. You know, unbelievable career for a guy who was literally just a fill-in because Kyle Larson said a wordy dirt, and he needed for Chip Ganassi needed a cheap replacement. Of course, Matt Kenseth's come in, of course, as well, so don't hold me out of that. But Ross really does not have the credentials or the background that we would think it takes to be a superstar in the sport. And Jimmy Johnson did too, but he is, and he's here. I don't think we can compare him to the Intimidator, though. I'm just not. I don't think that he's earned that repertoire yet. I do believe that he's the Ernie Irvan, and they've tried many times to talk to Ross, but I don't think Ross listens very good. Taz, you want to take on this? I mean, Jason's got a good question here.
So, I feel like the difference between Chastain and the Intimidator, I feel like the Intimidator would have done this not so early in the race where Chastain did. I get the lap. There were 2 lap cars in his way, but Chastain literally, it was like 80-something laps in, and we had a whole lot of more laps to go. I mean, I feel like he could have, sacrificed a spot maybe, or just let it go for a bit, but I just feel like he could have not made the move that he did, or maybe he really did not anticipate Brennan lifting early. I just don't know. But it's hard.
That's what I think happened, Taz. Taz, I honestly, in all seriousness, I believe what happened was Brennan Poole wasn't confident in his car. He was up against Austin Dillon. He backed out of the gas, and Ross Chastain, with the fast hot rod that he had, the closing rate was just too fast. And it was, like Denny Hamlin said, it was real similar to what he did to J.J. Yaley. I don't think these guys are purposely going out there and wrecking Rick Ware race cars. I don't believe that, and I don't think that Denny Hamlin had any beef with J.J. Yaley at the time. I think that the closing rate was just at the point, and you've got the back of the field markers that are don't have as much control of their cars. Miss Lee,
Brad Keselowski had an interesting take on this today, and basically what he said was it boils down to the fact that Ross has a fast race car every week.
Every week.
And when you're as fast as he is, you need to stay out of his way. But when the time comes that his car isn't so fast, people are going to remember how he raced. And there will be payback coming.
I think he's on the edge. I think he's on the edge, and I don't see the retaliation. I really don't.
Well,
but Taz, bring it
hold
in.
on. Now, I don't know if you guys caught the Denny Hamlin clip I sent you guys from his podcast, but
I listened to his podcast earlier today.
But Denny mentioned that Ross is a guy that
forget.
That will expect retaliation. Like, he knows it's coming. Because, and he'll sit there, and when you retaliate, he'll sit there and say, "Oh, I knew it was coming."
I deserve it.
Make he doesn't sit here and make excuses about it. He knows if he did something wrong, he knows it's going to come back.
I think, honestly, we're looking at a future superstar of the sport, and this is how. Remember Kyle Busch? Remember all the wrecks and all the dings and all the bad driving that he did? But we knew he was fast, and he was in that Hendrick car. We knew he was fast, but we didn't find out who Kyle Busch really was until he went to Joe Gibbs Racing. So I feel like Ross is that generational talent. Like, we're seeing the beginning of a superstar who just doesn't quite have it all together yet. He's, like you said, Lee, he's got a fast race car every weekend. You just got to stay the hell out of his way.
Right. And let's not forget that just last week we were talking about the lack of personality in racing.
Right.
And, Ross is becoming a personality. And people can argue against or for his aggressive racing style, but that's who he is, and that's how he races. And be it right, be it wrong, agree or not, he's making a name, and he's becoming a personality, and he's generating a lot of talk. Obviously, we're talking about him all the time. So...
And I
when you see the water,
I want to throw one more thing in there real quick, and I'm going to jump out of here. And I'm glad you brought up Kyle Busch, because this was something I was thinking about. I don't know if it was last week or this week, but it had to do with Ross Chastain. I think it was last week, because you were talking about how there was some cheers at the track when he won or whatever, or at least one of the races. And we're hearing a little bit more cheering than we used to for Kyle Busch. Do we think any of what Ross Chastain is doing is taking some of the attention or maybe some of the dislike from Kyle Busch and is gearing towards him and maybe pulling that bad guy or hatred towards Kyle Busch and turning some of the fans
and
Kyle Busch cheer now at this point?
Kyle Busch is not the only bad boy anymore.
Yeah, but
I can't remember.
Busch,
I can never remember hearing Kyle Busch get cheered on, except for me at the track. So to hear it at a race, and I think we heard it twice now with both his wins. You're starting to hear a little bit more cheers in the crowd when he wins races, and so I'm wondering if this Ross Chastain thing has anything to do with it. If it's pulling some of that hatred and gearing it towards Ross Chastain, and people are not hating Kyle Busch maybe as much. I'm not gonna say don't hate him no more, but maybe not as much, and are kind of changing their feeling and their hatred's going in a different direction.
Oh yeah, let Ross Chastain get into it with Chase Elliott.
But how much of that though is the team changed too, and people are now looking at Kyle Busch differently in that they're hoping that he can be a positive thing for the team versus, him being a JGR driver, and everyone loves to hate JGR because of their winning history. So, there's that to consider too. But I also do think that Ross has taken a little bit of the heat off of him too.
The only positive,
not going to jail. Go ahead.
I would say the only positive thing we're going to see out of Kyle Busch when it comes to team change is him hoping a future for his son. I think that's the only thing that's going to change. I don't see him being this positive influence over other Kyle Busch, and I'm a Kyle Busch fan. Kyle Busch is Kyle Busch. We're going to get the same Kyle Busch regardless. Other than lining up the future for his son to be able to race, I think that's the only thing that is going to change anything, or anything that's going to alter his path on how he acts, is making sure that there is an opportunity for his son. Outside of that, I don't see Kyle Busch being a mentor, being anything for anybody else other than Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is Kyle Busch. Don't get me wrong, he does a phenomenal job in having Kyle Busch Motorsports and what he has done for these young drivers and giving them opportunities, and how many of these young drivers have got an opportunity to go on to the Xfinity Series and Cup Series is phenomenal. But that's all about his branding and him, not just out of the kindness of his heart or building RCR or anything else. It's got to do with Kyle Busch and his family, which, at the end of the day, that's what everybody's out there for. It's about them and their family. They're not there, to for everybody else. They're out there for themselves and their family, taking care of their own. But I'll let you go back, Chris. I will catch you guys later on and listen to you guys the rest of the way in the morning.
Kyle Busch definitely relishes the fact of being the villain. He loves being the villain. I don't think Ross Chastain feels comfortable being the villain. I think that you're going to have Chase Elliott fans and you're going to have Ross Chastain fans. And if those two ever get together, that's where the true spew of hate will come from. You think about Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin's not very well liked. He's not everybody's favorite. I think I'm surprised that the whole world didn't come unglued with Kyle Larson being caught up in this incident with Ross Chastain. Had that been Chase Elliott, I believe we would have heard a lot more outcry. But there's just as many of us that are anti-Chase Elliott who would be pro-Ross Chastain. So it's kind of where Kyle Busch become the villain. And the one thing that Kyle Busch has working for him right now that he did not have a year ago is the fact of Joe Gibbs basically sent the best race car driver in 30 years packing for his grandson, who may or may not have had the fastest Xfinity car in the world, right? I mean, we got a guy who's 0 for 80 something, gets into a Joe Gibbs race car in the Xfinity Series, and now he's a winner. We watched Trevor Bayne last year. It looked like he was, got this crap end of a deal on because, he never could do anything in the Cup side other than win the Daytona 500. So, I mean, you have to kind of weigh all the scenarios here. Yes, Ms. Lee. Save me.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. Coach Joe just wanted to get his grandson into one of his cars, and, I think it was a surprise to everyone that he ended up in the 18, but then again, the 18 was the best, or, well, you know, was the best team that he had. So, you know, he, again, family.
Loyalty to RCR, right? There are so many Dale Earnhardt fans that don't watch the sport anymore since Dale died that are still RCR loyalists. And they are willing to trade in their hate and dispassion for Kyle Busch for one reason. One reason only. Because Kyle effing Busch can make RCR great again.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel like